Hey, what's up? I'm Norris and welcome back to another sew along. Now today I'll be working on my Lady Simplicity pattern design, which is 3037, the sweatsuit. And today we'll be working on view A, the zip up hoodie. Now if you're new to sewing, I just want to brush up on your skills a bit. Go visit our online sewing and design school, which is sewacademy.com. Now once you go there, you can take advantage of our free trial, then come back and sew along with me. Now that we have all the important stuff out the way, we can begin order of construction. All right, so like I said before, we're working on my Lady Simplicity pattern, which is S3037. And we're working on view A, which is the zip up hoodie. Now I love everything about this hoodie. It has a nice baggy oversized feel, drop shoulder, really cool details. Now if you move over to the back, you have a list of suggested fabrics at the top. If you look for notions, it tells you specifically what you will need to create this. You definitely will need a 27-inch zipper. Now you might not need all of the 27 inches, but if you're able to shorten the zipper, it will fit. And you will also need rib knit. Now rib knit trim is basically the cuff and also the band of the hoodie. If you can't find any to match the exact color of your fabric, you can use just the fabric for the cuff and also for the band. It's not a must. Now I have some here that works. Now this is the rib knit and this is my actual sweatshirt fabric. Now it works out pretty good, so I'm going to use this for this, but it's not a must. I could definitely use this same fabric for the cuff and band. Also, that's really important that I want to point out is the gross grain ribbon and then also the twill tape. Now this is not a must, but it does give you a cleaner finish on the inside of this garment. And once we get to the zipper part, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Last but not least, we're going to look at sizes. Now measure your chest, waist, and also hips, because this garment is going to be around your chest, your waist, and also your hips because of the length of it. And whatever those measurements fall up under, you want to find your small, medium, large, extra large, or XXL and come down to finished garment measurement. Now, the finished garment measurement is going to have the exact measurement once you sew this garment up. So if it's too much room in that particular size, go a size down. If it's not enough room, you want to go a size up. So this is one of the mistakes that a lot of new sewers skip, is looking at the finished garment measurements when it comes to these patterns. Okay, the first pattern piece we're going to start with is pattern piece number 3. This is your back. You want to cut one on the fold, and as you can see, the fold is here. Next, we have pattern piece number 1. This is the front. You want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric, and don't forget the markings for your front pocket. Next, we have pattern piece number 4. Now this is the sleeve. You want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric. And please don't forget to do your notches, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, and then also your placements here for your armhole. Moving along, we have pattern piece number 8. Now this is the hood. You want to cut 4 of these. 2 is going to be for the outside, and then you want to have the other 2 for the inside. For this particular pattern, the inside is going to look just as good as the outside with the same exact fabric, because as you know, when you wear a hood and you put it down, people do see the inside of it. Next, we have pattern piece number 2. Now this is the pocket. You want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric. Okay, last but not least, we have the 3 pattern pieces that we will need for the rib knit. And once again, like I said, if you don't have the rib knit fabric, you can use the same exact fabric for these pieces. Now, number 5, you're going to have the sleeve band. You want to cut 2 of these. Pattern piece number 6, this is your front band. Now, you want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric. And then last but not least, we have pattern piece number 7. This is the back band. And when I mean band, is going to go around the waist. And you want to cut 1 of these on the fold, which is right here. All right, so once you have all your pattern pieces cut, all of the correct fabric, we can begin order of construction. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start with the front pocket. Now this side right here is going to be the entrance to the pocket. So I'm going to turn it this way, and there should be 2 dots there. That's the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So you want to fold that up. If you have a seam gauge, you can measure to make sure it's 5/8 all the way around, but give that a good press. I've already pressed mine pretty good. Now, once you press that, you want to take the raw edge of that and tuck it into the fold, which creates a double fold, just like this. And then now we're just going to pin it in place. Okay, so take it to the fold. So if you look closely on the other side here, we're going to do a top stitch a 1/4 inch away from that folded edge there, and it's going to catch the fold underneath. Okay, so let's head over to the machine and we're going to top stitch this down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, went ahead and top stitch and it caught that edge on the other side. So now I'm gonna open this up real quick. I went ahead and did a serge. I cleaned off my seams here and then here over across the top. So if you have a serger or want to use a zigzag stitch or picking shears, you can do that. But once you clean off those edges, you want to turn under 5/8 of an inch, give it a good press, and then right here on the side, turn it in 5/8 of an inch and give it a really good press. Now it's going to take the shape of this. So I'm going to turn it to the side real quick and then bring over my front piece. And as you can see, I have 2 markings, which where your pocket is going to be when you put your hand in. And then these points right here should match up with those. There should be a notch here at the bottom of your front piece. And I'm just going to start pinning this stuff in place just to keep it. And then there is a marking here for where the bottom should end on this side. Okay, and then once I have my dots matched up, making sure everything is even, and then we're going to pin. Okay, so now that we have it all pinned, I'm going to head to the machine and we're going to edge stitch here and then do a second row of top stitching a 1/4 inch away from the first, and then the same thing up here at the top, edge stitch, and then a 1/4 inch away from there, another top stitch. And then once we get done with both of those, we're just going to do a basting stitch here and here just to keep this in place throughout the order of construction. I did my edge stitching, and then now I'm doing a second row of top stitching a 1/4 inch away from that one. Okay, just like that. And then we'll do the same thing across the top. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, we went ahead and put our front pocket onto the front, and you want to do the other one the same exact way. And then last but not least, I did do a basting stitch across the front and across the bottom just to keep this in place. Now we're going to grab our back piece real quick, and we're going to work on connecting these at the shoulders. So right sides facing, you want to grab your fronts, align the shoulders up, and we're going to pin. Okay, so now just head over to your machine and you want to do just a straight stitch here and here using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so moving right along, we went ahead and attached our shoulders with our front and our back. And one thing I want to point out, if you look at the instructions, it's going to tell you to open up that seam allowance and press it, and then top stitch on both sides of that seam. I personally don't like pressing my sleeves open unless I'm working with something with a lining to it, and this don't have a lining, so I finished off my seams with a serge. I pressed it to the back, and then I did one top stitch a 1/4 inch away from the seam here. All right, as you can see. So if you like this method, you can do it this way. If not, you can follow along exactly how the instructions say it. But now, since we have that together, let's go ahead and move along to our sleeve. Now this is our armhole here. Okay, so right sides facing, you want to make sure you match up. This is the front, you have one notch. This is the back, you have 2 notches, and then we have the notches in between. Now I'm going ahead and match up all of the notches. Take your sleeve, and then we're going to pin. Okay, so let's head over to the machine. We're gonna stitch all the way across using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now that we did one sleeve, you want to pin and sew your other sleeve to the other side the same exact way. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, we attached our sleeves, and instead of pressing those seams open, like I said before, like it shows in the instructions, I went ahead and just serged it and then pressed those seams up, and I did a top stitching a 1/4 inch away from the seam onto the back and the front piece right here. So that's how you see that nice little detail right there. So now we're just gonna close out the side seam. So right side's facing, you just want to turn everything the other way. Okay, so now that is right side facing, we want to match up that underarm seam and pin there first. Okay. Now we're just gonna head to the machine. We're gonna start from up top, go all the way down till we get to the hem using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And you want to pin and sew your other side the same exact way. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, we have our side seam and under sleeve done, and I pressed that seam to the back after I finished it off with a serge. So now we're just gonna move along to finish up the sleeve cuff. Now this right here is the cuff. It looks just like this. So there should be a notch on both sides here. You want to fold them right sides facing. I can put a pin in it. And then head to the machine. You just want to stitch down using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. I went ahead and pressed that seam open, and with wrong sides touching, you just want to fold it onto itself like that, and it's gonna create your cuff. Okay, now at this point, we're going to match up that seam with the underarm seam right here. Okay, so just slide it in between, grab your pins, get situated, and then you want to just start pinning all the way around. Now there's a notch on this side of the cuff that should align with the notch on the sleeve. Okay, let's head to the machine, and we're going to stitch all the way around using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, we've attached our cuff to our sleeve, and you want to do the other one the same exact way. And then now we're going to work on the band for the bottom here. So I'm just going to move this out the way, and we're going to work on our back band, which is this one, the one that's on the fold. And then this right here is our front band, and there should be a notch here, and then a notch here on the front band, and we're right sides facing. We're going to pin okay, so now we're going to head to the machine, and we're going to stitch both sides down using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so moving right along, went ahead and pressed those seams open on both sides, as you can see right here. Then next, we're just going to bring this up, fold it in half, wrong sides touching, and I'm just going to pin just to keep it in place for us to attach it to the hoodie. There should be some notches back here that's going to line up with the bottom of the hoodie, and I just want to make sure they stay in the same place as well. Okay, so now this right here is the bottom of the hoodie. I turned it upside down, and we're going to place the seams at the side seam. There's a notch here that we're going to match up with the notch here, and then in the back there are notches here. So let's go ahead. We're going to take the pins out and repin this together. Okay, so now we're gonna head to the machine. We're gonna start on one end and go all the way across to the other side using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, as you can see, I have my band on, and I went ahead and serged that seam underneath, and I pressed that seam towards the hoodie. Okay, now on the end here, I went ahead and pressed in 5/8 of an inch, turned that under and pressed it. As you can see, all the way down to the hem, even where we have the rib knit at. Now I'm going to move one side out the way for just a moment, and then now I'm just going to focus on the zipper. Now I want this zipper, you want the zipper to be faced up. So I'm gonna go ahead and place the zipper with maybe, I'll say like 1/8 of an inch, or if the tape's still showing. And I'm gonna make about maybe like 1/8 of an inch showing. And then I'm going to go ahead and pin this in place. Okay, so if you look closely, I have it right here at the bottom, but at the top, the zipper is a little bit too long. Now we want the top of the zipper pull here to be 1/4 inch from the seam line right here, which is 5/8 of an inch. So in order for me to place it exactly where it needs to be, I need to come down and make a mark. Okay? And then I'm just going to make a mark on the other side as well. So now that I know that the zipper pull has to come down to right here, okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove these up until where I need it at, and then I'm going to take the stop up here and place it down here. And then I'll cut off this zipper tape above and turn it under so it can be out the way when I'm sewing. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I don't usually do all of this on camera, but because I'm doing a zipper, it's useful to know what tools to have. Now I will put a link in the description box, and you can purchase these. So now I'm going to start right here, right where that one is next to my marking. My marking is right there. So you basically want to put the teeth right into the center groove here, and just give it a little, give it some pressure, and then you just rip them off. And I'm going to do it in halfway. Okay. Now if you look, they'll come right off. They might not all come off at the same time, so you have to do it a few times, but this is how they look once you rip them off. Okay, same here. Okay, so once you get about an inch, 1.25 inches off, we don't have to remove all of these. We just can go up here and remove the stop. Now you want to place this the groove of this on the top and then on the bottom. So once you put it right here, just give it a little pressure like this. Okay, and it opens up just a little bit like that. Okay, that's how it looks. And then now I'm just going to reposition that right here. Okay, and then I'll take my other pliers and I give it a little pressure to clamp it back in place. Okay, so that's secured, not going anywhere. And then you also can give it pressure here. Okay, so now since we did this side, you want to do the other side the same way if you have to make adjustments. And then once you pin, we'll have it exactly where we need it to be, and we'll be able to cut this part off up here. Okay, so I went ahead and did the other side the same exact way. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this off up here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna fold this part back and pin it up here. Okay, so that's how it look on the back, folded. And then now we're just gonna head to the machine and we're going to base this down a 1/4 inch away from the fold, all the way down to the hem. Okay, so I pulled the zipper down a little bit so we can just get past this part. And I am basting this down. Okay, so moving right along, as you can see, went ahead and based down this side here. So now we're gonna mark some placement. So you wanna grab some type of marking pen. I have a chalk pen right here that'll go away. So I want to make a placement everywhere I see a significant place, like the seam here, the top of the pocket, maybe the middle of the pocket, maybe the middle up here, and then especially up here at top. Now we need to make sure the zipper on the other side is gonna go into the exact same place on this side here. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a placement right here. Now that's gonna be where the seam is, and then I'm gonna make a placement right here at the top of that pocket. And then next, I'm probably gonna do right here. I'm gonna mark that too so I know where to match that up. And then up top, I wanna make sure that I have my markers up here at the same place. So that's where that's supposed to go. And then I'm going to do one more in the middle here. And then I'm gonna put a placement right there, so I'll know where that's supposed to match up at. Okay, so now on this side, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same exact thing. We're gonna go ahead and just pin this in place. I'm gonna turn it around the other way. And then we're just going to pin where our markers are. Now also too, we can move this out the way and then just work on one. I like seeing everything match up while it's still zipped up, just so I'll know if I need to make any adjustments. Okay, so as you see, all the placements are there. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Now don't forget to fold back the top up here to base that down as well out the way. Okay, so now we're just gonna do the same thing we did to the other side and just base this down all the way up a 1/4 inch away from the fold. And remember, we're gonna leave about 1/8 of an inch of white zipper tape showing. Okay, so we're back from the machine. Let's go ahead and see how we did with the placement. Okay, so this is exactly what you want. The seams match up, the top pocket match up, and then also the top match up. So it's nice and the exact same on both sides. So now we're just gonna make it look clean on the other side doing this particular method. So on the inside here, you want to grab twill tape or either some type of ribbon, but I use some bias binding. And I know bias stretches a bit, but this is the only thing I had because the width of my tape is too wide for my twill tape. I didn't have a thicker twill tape. So this right here covers the seam, and then it also covers the end of the zipper tape. So once I do that, it goes all the way down, and I'm able to use it. Now, you want it to be a little bit longer so you can fold it underneath at the bottom like that to have a clean finish. And I'm gonna go ahead and just pin that since I have it right here, and I'm pinning it on the front side like that, and I'll show you why. So what I suggest you do is to make sure you have that twill tape going over that basting stitch there, and then the other side should be wide enough to cover the end of that zipper tape here. So once you have all of that, you can pin it from the front, making sure that everything is aligned. It's going to be clean on the inside because we have this twill tape. So the best way to do this for me is on the right side. Since we know that that tape is over that basting stitch, we can do a regular stitch all the way down following that guide, knowing that it's going to catch this side. And then after we do that, we're going to go 1/4 inch away from here and do a second stitch, making sure that that's going to catch the other end on this side here. Okay, so let's head to the machine and knock it out. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and followed my basting stitch, which makes sure that this right here was secured. I caught that fold on that twill tape. And then now we're gonna go ahead and do the second row, 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch, depending on how wide you want that top stitch, just making sure that you catch it, okay? Okay, that second row allows you to catch that side underneath. Okay, as you can see, went ahead and cleaned the inside all the way down. Nice and neat with the twill tape or ribbon, whatever you're using. We're gonna put this to the side and work on the hood. Now, it's real quick, real easy. Right side's facing, and we're going to pin around the curved side. Okay, so real simple. We're only going to need a straight stitch. You want to stitch all the way down till you get to this side using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'm back from the machine, as you can see right here, and went ahead and pressed that seam open. And then on the top, you want to top stitch about 1/8 of an inch on one side of the seam, and then on the other side of the seam, just like that. And that'll keep that seam allowance open. So you want to do the other one the same exact way. So on this one, I went ahead and pressed up 1/2 inch. And now we're gonna take that one, and we're right side's facing. We're going to attach it basically like this, with right side's facing. And then now I'm just going to pin around the face opening, which is around the big opening here. Okay, this is the neck. This right here is the opening. And there should be notches. Okay, and when we pin across the bottom, you want to make sure you keep the outside folded up so it can stay like that when we stitch. Okay, so now we're going to head to the machine. We're going to stitch that 1/2 inch fold up. Then we're going to stitch all the way around through the other side using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and trim the seam down to at least 3/8 of an inch. Okay, now we can turn this right side out. And the one that has that pressed 1/2 inch up at the bottom, at the neckline, that goes to the inside. So now you just want to make sure we get it in there. Head over to your pressing table and give this a really good press across the front, and we'll get ready to attach it to the neckline to complete our hoodie. Okay, so now, as you can see, I have my hood pressed really well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take the hood on the outside and just match it up with the notches. I'm gonna remove the pins from here. That was just keeping that down. So we're gonna keep the part where the folded edge, the 1/2 inch fold edge out the way. And we're just gonna go to the machine and stitch all the way across using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So go ahead and do that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back from the machine. As you can see, we attach the hood. And then next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that 1/2 inch fold and we're gonna keep it turned under. And we're gonna take that fold edge and make sure that it's over that seam edge. All right, just like that. And the other side, we want to pin it just like this, making sure we're catching that fold on the other side. Now we're doing that because we're going to stitch in the ditch, basically stitch right in the center of that seam, and then that's gonna catch and close out that neckline, okay? So let's go ahead and continue to do that all the way around. Okay, so on the inside you can see it pinned, and then you'll see the actual pins on this side. So let's head to the machine. We're going to stitch in the ditch from one end all the way across to the other end. Now you should be able to feel the fabric past the seam allowance so you know you're catching it. Okay, so we're back from the machine. We've stitched in the ditch, and you can see that it caught and closed out the inside. And you see no stitching because it's inside that seam. And this last step is optional. So these 2 rows that we have of stitching that allow us to clean up the inside, you can just continue that around the front center of that hood. So if you can see, I have 2 stitching lines here, and it matches up perfectly with the stitches that's across the center front. And then once you go ahead and zip it up. All right, so once you do your 2 rows of top stitching up here, clip your loose threads, give it a good press, and you're all done. All right, congratulations, you're all done. Now, I hope you enjoyed this sew along, and be sure to tag me across all socials at Norris Danta Forward, and I will see you in the next sew along.